Sorry, one, I thought I had the perfect marriage until one text message destroyed everything. They say you never truly know someone until you see what they're capable of when they think you're not watching, and I wasn't. I wasn't watching because I was too busy being in love, too busy building a future that was already collapsing in silence behind my back. For a whole year, I kissed her every morning, I brought her coffee in bed, I held her through nightmares, all while another man probably waited for her to say goodnight to me so she could text him in the dark. I thought I had the perfect marriage. Friends envied us. Strangers smiled at our photos. My parents told me they hoped to have what we had someday. We took vacations, posted highlights of our lives online, and filled photo albums with memories that now feel like someone else's life. But everything was a lie, carefully constructed like the house of cards I mistook for a fortress. A carefully crafted illusion I clung to because I was too blind or too trusting to see the cracks forming beneath it. I found out on a Thursday, a day so normal it became unbearable. I came home early, arms full of groceries and a head full of plans for a quiet dinner. Her phone buzzed on the kitchen counter. She was in the shower. I wish I could say I respected her privacy. I wish I could say I ignored it. But the screen lit up again, and I looked. I looked because something inside me whispered that I needed to, and what I found shattered something deep in me. I read messages that made my stomach twist and my legs weak. Pet names I'd never heard her say. Inside jokes. Dates. Hotel bookings. Photos. Videos. It wasn't just a fling. It wasn't a drunken mistake. It was a relationship, parallel to ours. A whole year of dual lives, of shared holidays and family dinners while she snuck away to meet him. I could barely breathe. I waited, not because I was calm, but because I needed her to see my face when she told me the truth. I sat on the couch like a statue, listening to the water run. She came out wrapped in a towel, humming like nothing had happened. I asked, "Who's Nathan?" Her eyes flickered. Just a second. Just a twitch. But I saw it. That tiny crack in her expression that told me everything. She knew. She knew the game was over. She didn't cry. She didn't beg. She just sat down across from me, like someone who had rehearsed this moment in her head 1,000 times. And then she told me everything. How it started one night when I was working late, chasing a promotion. How he made her feel alive. How he remembered the small things, her favorite wine, her favorite flower, the book she once mentioned in passing. How she didn't mean for it to happen, but once it started, she couldn't stop. She said she never meant to hurt me, that she still loved me, just not in the way she used to. As if that softened the blow. As if loving someone differently erased the betrayal. I didn't yell. I didn't throw anything. I just listened. And when she finished, I stood up and left. I didn't even take a coat. I wandered the city for hours, numb to the cold and to the people passing me by. I ended up at a hotel. I checked in under my middle name. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't think. I just laid there, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment of our marriage through a new lens. Her distracted glances at dinner, her late-night showers, the sudden interest in yoga on weekends, the text she once laughed off. It all made sense now. It all fell into place like a cruel puzzle. The days that followed were a blur. I didn't eat. I didn't answer calls. I couldn't even tell my closest friend. How do you explain that the person you trusted most became a stranger overnight? That the life you built was a facade? I kept replaying her words in my head. I tried to find blame. Was it me? Did I fail her? Was I so focused on providing that I forgot how to be present? It was a dangerous spiral, one I barely climbed out of. Eventually, I moved back to the house to pack my things. She had already taken some of hers. The silence was louder than any argument we'd ever had. I found her notes in drawers, her scarf in the laundry, her perfume still lingering on the pillow. And with every trace of her, I felt 1,000 versions of myself die. The husband, the friend, the partner, the fool. We signed the divorce papers 3 months later. No lawyers, no drama, just two people sitting in a room, pretending not to remember how they once danced in the kitchen barefoot. I watched her walk out with a cardboard box filled with our life, framed pictures, a snow globe from Paris, the coffee mug I got her on our 3rd anniversary. She didn't look back, and I didn't call out. I told my parents we drifted apart. I told friends it was a mutual decision. But in reality, I was too ashamed to admit what had really happened. Saying it out loud would make it real. And I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't ready to be the man who got cheated on, the man who gave everything and still lost. So I buried it, deep. But pain doesn't stay buried. It shows up in strange places, in songs, in smells, in the silence between conversations. I started therapy. I started journaling. Some nights I cried. Others I drank. Healing isn't linear. Some days I felt light. Others I collapsed under the weight of memories. Her laugh in the other room. Her hand in mine. The way she used to look at me like I was the only person in the world. But slowly something changed. I started noticing things again. The warmth of sunlight. The taste of real coffee. The freedom of being alone without feeling lonely. I took a trip alone. I read books I'd forgotten. I forgave myself. And then I forgave her, not because she deserved it, but because I did. Now, a year later, I can finally say I moved on. The pain is still there, sometimes, like a scar you forget about until you touch it. But I'm no longer defined by it. I survived the worst kind of heartbreak, not just the betrayal of a partner, but the betrayal of a dream. And from that wreckage, I rebuilt something new, something stronger. In the end, maybe that's what life is about. Not perfection, not fairy tales, but endurance, growth, rediscovery. And I rediscover myself, piece by broken piece. Maybe that's the story I was always meant to live. Story 2. I found out about my wife's affair at our anniversary dinner, in front of everyone. They say the worst kind of pain doesn't come from strangers, but from the person who promised never to hurt you. And I learned that while cutting into the cake at our 10-year anniversary party, in front of our friends, our family, and the smiling faces who thought we were the couple everyone should aspire to be. It was supposed to be the happiest night of my life. I just made a toast. I told everyone how lucky I felt to wake up beside her every morning, how she was my calm in chaos, my best friend, the only home I'd ever needed. People clapped. She kissed me in front of them all, her eyes shining. And less than 10 minutes later, I found a message on her phone that shattered everything. It was a total accident. I wasn't snooping. Her phone was sitting on the table while she helped our daughter with something near the cake table. A notification popped up, a heart emoji, then words that burned into my memory like fiery. Can't stop thinking about last night. Still taste you. My stomach dropped. I stared at the screen, hoping it was an old message. But the timestamp said otherwise 2 hours ago, while we were dancing, while she was laughing in my arms. I opened the thread. Dozens of messages, pictures, not explicit, just intimate, coffees together, hotel lobbies, his hand holding hers. A man named Eric. I had never heard of him. My pulse thundered in my ears, and I suddenly couldn't hear the music anymore. I didn't confront her then, not with our daughter around. Not with all those people watching. I smiled. I held her hand. I stood beside her in photos. Every second felt like suffocating underwater with a smile on my face. The entire night, I replayed those texts over and over in my head. I started to see it clearly. Her recent distance, the sudden nights out with friends, the way she avoided eye contact when I told her I loved her. I had been so blind. Or maybe I just refused to see it. The next morning, I asked her plainly, "How long has it been going on?" She froze, didn't ask, "What are you talking about?" or even pretend to be confused. That was answer enough. She sat down, hands trembling, said it started 6 months ago. Some man she met at a gallery. It didn't mean anything, she said. He just made me feel seen. I asked her if she loved him. She didn't answer. I asked her if she loved me. She whispered, "I think I did." That broke me. Not the affair, not the lies, but the past tense. I left the house that day with nothing but my car keys, parked by the water, sat in the silence for what felt like hours. There were no tears, just this hollowness like I'd been scooped out from the inside. 10 years, a daughter, a life built from scratch, and she threw it away for someone she'd known for half a year. I didn't tell anyone for weeks. I kept pretending we were okay, for our daughter's sake, for the illusion of control. But I was unraveling. I'd hear her phone buzz and feel my chest tighten. I'd look at her and wonder if she was thinking about him. One night, I saw her smiling at her phone, and I lost it. I didn't yell, I just broke down. On the FLUR, in front of her, and she didn't know what to do. Eventually, we started therapy. Not to FIX the marriage, I didn't even know if I wanted that, but to try to survive it. She said she was sorry, said it was a mistake, said she never stopped loving me. But every word felt like an echo, like something she thought she was supposed to say. And the truth was, I didn't trust her anymore. I didn't trust us. Then, a few weeks later, I got a message on Instagram from his wife, Eric's. She found me, said she suspected something, had seen some messages, recognized my wife's name, wanted to know if I knew. We talked for hours, compared timelines, realized the affair was deeper than we thought. Weekend getaways, birthday dinners. Our spouses had been in love, not just sneaking around. They had talked about running away together. That was the FINAL nail. I moved out the next day, told our daughter I needed some time. It was the hardest conversation of my life. She asked me if mommy did something bad. I said no, because I didn't want her to carry the weight of our mistakes. The divorce was ugly, not because we fought over money or custody, but because we kept pretending it could still be amicable, still respectful. But how do you respect someone who shattered your trust so completely? Who kissed your daughter goodnight and then snuck away to meet someone else? It's been over a year now. I have my own place. I see my daughter every weekend. I try to smile more. I still wake up some nights wondering if I should have done something differently, worked less, paid more attention, noticed the signs earlier. But I've stopped blaming myself, because no matter what I missed, I never stopped loving her. And she did. Sometimes, that's all it takes to end a marriage. Not a huge fight, not violence, not abuse. Just one person giving up quietly while the other is still fighting like hell. I still wear my wedding ring on a chain around my neck. Not because I want her back, but because it reminds me of the man I was, the man who believed in forever, the man who gave everything. And even though I lost her, I didn't lose that part of myself. And maybe someday, someone else will see that and choose to stay. After all these betrayals, do you think anyone is really loyal anymore? Or are we just fooling ourselves? Feel free to share your opinion in the comments.